Hello, and welcome to a new week and the fourth day of Captario's 10-year celebration series. My name is Karl Rahn, and today we're going to sit down together with Captario's founding member, Mikael Palmblad, and senior analyst, Samuelsson, to talk about simulation and uncertainty. At Captario, we emphasize that leveraging simulation and uncertainty is important. But why is it important? And what value is there in understanding uncertainty? These are some of the questions we will be talking about. Also, be sure to watch until the end, as we will be revealing some pretty cool stuff. Now let's go talk to Emma and Mikael. Hello.
Hello.
Mikael. Yeah, it's good to see you both. Yeah, happy to be here and discuss two topics that are very interesting. So let's talk a little bit about uncertainty and how it is part of our work here and how we're helping companies.
We're trying to help our customers understand that reality is not about fixed numbers. You never really know how long will something take, how much will something cost. It's all about uncertainty, and we really have to help them understand how to embrace the uncertainty and take that into account, because there are so many ways to look at the results when you add uncertainty to your projects, instead of just putting in fixed numbers.
Interesting. And yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. You pick one number. Like if I said 15 minutes, I'd probably be wrong.
Yeah, it's just a guess.
Yeah, it could be 17. Yeah, so it makes sense to me. So you work that into the critical decisions that pharmaceutical companies are making in their modeling. Yeah. So we understand that's a really simple concept for me to understand. So let's talk about how we take that information, that we understand these ranges are better to work into the modeling, and use simulation in the modeling. And how does that look in our work here?
The simulation?
Yes.
Well, it's actually pure math. The model itself is a mathematical description of reality. And what we would do is that everywhere we have an uncertain value, you would pick a number within that uncertainty. So if it's a range, pick something in there. And then you calculate the result of that. And that result constitutes one outcome one possible outcome of the project. If we repeat this once, twice, 10,000 times, we've run the project, in effect, 10,000 times, and we can calculate the average, we can calculate the probability of it being launched at all, and the probability of maybe gaining $2 million or whatever you're interested in.
Interesting.
And that information is actually something you can act on. You could start looking at ways of making the project better, or you may find a way of very quickly debunking the project, so you would cancel it because you'd get enough information to say that it's not worth.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. You're looking at a future launch date, you're looking at date ranges, when it could be launched, and taking actions around that.
Yeah, and the advantage is that you can look at all of these outcomes in one single model. Just think of like an Excel sheet. That is actually just one outcome. If you want to test different scenarios, you would have to create another Excel sheet, and then another one. You would have like hundreds or thousands just to do the same thing as we do with simulations.
And that's part of the power of what we're doing here. It's trying to offer a solution that's more robust, but easier to look at these complicated decisions.
The interesting thing about uncertainty is that that's part of the information that you own, you know. So the single number is more or less guesswork. But the range, where you can say that I'm fairly certain that it will be more than this and less than this, that's something you know. So if you don't use that, you're actually not using the information you have. And that's value that you lost.
So I understand having a range could help you get to a further view in your analysis of what decisions you want to look at in terms of pretty much anything. So could you talk a little bit more of what that looks like and why? Why would a range be better than just picking a single date?
Well, one example that popped up the other day, we had a drug project that was in phase 3, and then somewhere the phase 3 program was finished, and you went on to the registration phase and then into the market. And the interesting thing was that I actually did 2 calculations. I did a simulation on it, and then I used the single values, the averages, and did a calculation on it. And it turned out it was strange, and I thought almost the system was wrong, because when I did the simulation, I would get a value of, I think it was $5 million in sales in 2024, and then $80 million in sales in 2025 from the simulation. Now, when I went over and calculated the Excel way, if you will, with the single values, I would get 0 in 2024 and 80 million in 2025.
Very different.
Very different. And I mean, because obviously the difference between 0 and something is significant. So, but what this told us was that there is a possibility of actually getting your program launched in 2024. It's not certain, but it's possible. And that prompts more investigation. You can go in and find out in what conditions would you get a launch in 2024.
And that's valuable information for a project manager who's looking into a potential launch. And so the company could potentially take that information, make very different plans than if they just had a plan done on an Excel sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So let's talk about those ranges and how do we come up with those numbers? Emma, how would you help the clients come up with those ranges and those numbers and the variability there?
I mean, there are different ways of deciding or calibrating what numbers to use. You can use historical data. Normally there's a lot of data already at the customers. They have historical data we can use to pick out distribution, a range to use. You can use experts. Experts sits on a lot of data. And also you can guess based on your experience.
Interesting. Great. So you're bringing a lot of help to further define those ranges.
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. Well, thank you both very much for a very stimulating and informative conversation. Once again, I've learned something new, and I thank you very much. Emma, would you like to show them what you're holding?
Yeah. The book is called The Art of Pharma Decision Making, and it's being released today.
Mikael, could you tell us a little bit more about the book?
Well, it's a collection of good practices that we use when we prepare for decisions.
Yeah, excellent. If you're interested to learn more, please feel free to pick up your free copy. And thank you very much for listening.